understand how to handle like a pro. We're going to also be talking about the Mobius loop infrastructure, because that's a game changer. When you understand how that behaves, you begin to understand why we say this works for 100% of the people, 100% of the time, that completes the 2 simple steps. And you guys are going to really realize that today, okay? So we're going to go ahead and dive right into it, you guys. I don't want to belabor the moment. I want to encourage you to take out, pen and paper to take down some notes, because this is also about leadership development as well. We'll do a Q&A at the end too, okay? So let's go ahead and dive right into this thing really quickly. I'm going to share my screen here. And the first thing that I think I want to do is we're going to talk about handling objections. Will be the first thing that we're going to talk about first before we talk about belief in the Mobius loop. So let me go here, and let me start off here first and foremost. We went over this before, you guys, but I think this is critically important before we talk about handling objections. And this is what I call the success triangle. And it's so important that what I'm getting ready to share with you, that you take it beyond the intellect. Because it's so interesting that we've gone over this before with some people that have been around for some time, and they've probably taken notes. But when it comes to handling objections and hearing the negative naysayers out there, this is the moment that you have to apply the success triangle, okay? And so there's 3 components to success. At the base is what we call IC. Over here, we call EC. And over here, we call TK. And basically, IC stands for internal communication, the self-talk that you have with yourself. This is where your belief system is about anything that you do. EC is external communication, the good opinions of other people. If they say, is it a pyramid? It's a scam, and all the things that you will hear out there, in addition to people that are looking for you that share your same opinion, that's who you're looking for. But for those people that don't share your opinion, that's what we call external communication. And way too often, all right, we have so many people that allow the good opinions of other people to sabotage your dream. You can't allow that to happen. Okay, it's very important. Someone's going to always say something negative about anybody and someone, whether it's Donald Trump, whether it's Kamala Harris, heck, even Jesus Christ, right? So you can't avoid external communications and the good opinions of other people. So that's why it's important to have your internal communication trump tight. That's why we have new member orientation. That's why we have Saturday Locker Room. That's why you should have your own personal growth and self-development routine. What are you reading? What are you watching? What are you listening to? All right, to fortify your belief if you're dead serious about going after your dreams with conviction, okay? TK is technical know-how, all right? Well, how does this work? How do I fund my wallet, okay? How do I move crypto? How do I withdraw? How do I do a presentation? All that stuff is technical know-how. But the key factor, the foundation, okay, for success is the internal communication. And you have 100% control over that. So I want to start off by really addressing that real quickly, because you want to make sure that you're listening to your inner voice more than you're listening to the good opinion of other people that don't have the lifestyle that you desire, that don't even have an opportunity that they can present to you that remotely puts you or them in a position to have a lifestyle that you desire. Make sense? The technical know-how of everything, that's on a need-to-know basis. You're going to develop the skill sets and the technical know-how on how to do blockchain cryptocurrency. Give yourself time, be patient there. In fact, a lot of it can be taught within about first 30 minutes. But the emphasis is your internal communication. You got to stand at the gateway of your mind. Don't let people rent space in your mind rent free. Make sense, everybody? So I want to start off with that before we go into talking about, okay, the how to handle objections. So what we did, you guys, we put it already in the back office. I'm going to use it already. So when you go into your STM member back office, we put together a PDF, and I'm going to break this thing down for you guys. It's down here underneath your tools, okay? And it's right here, how to confidently handle objections. So we're going to go over that here really, really quickly, all right? So let's do that. So how to confidently handle objections. Let me move this out the way. Hold on one second, you guys. Trying to move. Boom. Boom. Okay. So one of the things that you guys want to understand, one of the some key points to handling objections is the first thing is that you want to acknowledge the objection when someone brings some things to you. You want to at least acknowledge it and then connect, right? Because in order to take people where you want them to go, you have to first meet them where they're at, if that makes sense. And so it's okay to acknowledge the objection. And I'm going to share with you guys some words that, has been taught in different sales schools and things of that nature. And I'm going to break that down for you. But you acknowledge it and then you connect, because everything is about connecting with the person at the heart, right? And then you take them where you want them to go. The other thing is the person that asks the question controls the conversation. So when you're dealing with a prospect that's asking the questions, they're ultimately controlling the conversation, right? And so I'm going to be sharing with you guys how to handle objections through asking the appropriate questions so that they can come to the conclusion themselves. Because if you tell them the answer, right, after they ask the question all the time, then they don't own it. And so then it's easy for them to go out here and start trying to build the business. And then they're hearing the same objections, but they didn't come to the conclusion themselves. Hopefully that makes sense, everyone. So always remember, when you're talking to someone, whoever asks the question controls the conversation. And then speak with confidence. This is very, very important. Be Teflon Don here. Be unstoppable, because the more certain person wins when there's communication. And more important than that, and this is the thing that is really, really interesting. Many of us have heard these objections before, not just in this particular business, but if you've been in network marketing, affiliate marketing, or anything that's different from traditional brick and mortar business, all right, you've already heard a lot of these objections. So you should know the answer to their questions before they do, because you've had these conversations many times before. Does that make sense? So when you guys see, and we show the different deposits, sometimes when we just show the deposits coming in daily and everything like that, and withdrawals and everything, you guys realize that there were people that had objections, that thought maybe it was a scam, that it was a pyramid, is it multi-level marketing? But it didn't prevent myself and others from building daily residual cash flow. So if you think that those objections are just going to miraculously go away, it's not. There's going to always be people that were going to defend their right to stay broke, all right? And it's only because they're uneducated about the way in which things really operate and work. We talk about being institutionalized, okay? So those are some key points before we go into some things here, okay? So some of you have heard this question here, right? Is this network marketing or multi-level marketing? Now, this is the whole key about acknowledging and then connecting with people. Anyone that's been in sales before understands feel, felt, found, Well, if someone says, is this multi-level marketing, network marketing? You just want to say, you know what? I know exactly. You don't even have to say feel. You can just say, I know what you're thinking. I thought the same way until I investigated this further. The short answer is no. Or you can say, I know exactly how you feel, because I felt the same way when I first took a look at this. But through deeper investigation, it dawned on me that it's completely different. So the answer is no. Now that you've acknowledged and you've connected, because now you know that they felt that you understand how they feel, right? So now you're on an even playing field. Now you're getting ready to take them where you want them to go, team. All right. Now, this isn't about manipulation. This is about really us educating and helping people get out of their own way. Because pyramid talk, multi-level marketing talk, it is preventing millions and millions, if not billions of people from becoming economically free. We want to have major impact. And I'm only talking to those people. When you're talking to people, you're only talking to those people who are open. Understand that. If you're talking to someone that's digging their heels in, and it doesn't matter what answer you give them, you want to stay away from those. All right. So you say no, but let me ask you this question. Are you currently employed? Right? So let's just say they work at a factory, whatever the case may be. It doesn't even matter. You want to then say, well, let me ask you this. Do you have anyone that answers to you? And you make them answer. Let them say yes or no. All right. If they say yes, great. Go to the next question. Well, even if they say no, well, do you have a boss that you answer to? They're going to say yes. Does your boss have anyone that they answer to? They're going to say yes. Then you say, so it has multiple levels. So you want to get them to say yes. Does it have multiple levels? Yeah. Okay. So now the next one. So if your company was not multi-level, it will be uni-level. Means that everyone would have the same title and get paid the same amount. So prospect, what you have to understand, what I've learned, that every organization is multi-level. Now, this is the thing, prospect, that really helped me to understand why this is so powerful and different. And let me ask you this, because the person I'm doing business with asked me this same question. Do you have the opportunity to move up on your own terms at your job, or is it politically driven? This is powerful, you guys. Ask them that question. Anyone that's W-2, do you have the opportunity to move up on your own terms, or is it politically driven? Right? It's politically driven because someone has to die or get fired. You have to brown nose. I mean, there's just limited space. We know it's politically driven. Exactly, right? What I love about here is that we have control in terms of us being able to move up. We get to move up on our own terms. So having said that, are you ready to move forward and accept this token from me? Right? Boom. Ask the question. Now, one of the other questions that you guys are hearing, is this a pyramid? Okay. Now, this is very, very important. Once again, you don't want to just, go and just answer that question. You want to ask them, well, what do you mean exactly by a pyramid? Okay. Most people don't even know what that means. They've just heard it before. They have no understanding whatsoever. They're just parroting what they've heard other people say before. And it dismisses logic, because when you look at our business, logically, it makes all the sense in the world. But there's something about that pyramid thing that it's like a disease that they don't even understand, right? So you want to ask them, what do you mean by a pyramid? Okay. And whatever answer they give you, sometimes they're going to say things like it's multi-level. You got to get people in, and the people at the top make all the money. When they do that, all right, you want to go right back to this. You can use the multi-level questions, right, for them. Okay. You can go right back to that and use the exact same questions to help them come to this conclusion here, that they don't have the opportunity to move up on their own terms. It's politically driven, right? So that's the real pyramid, number one. But let's just say they have whatever answer they have. Now it gets personal because you're dealing mostly with your warm market, right? At that moment in time, especially if you're, a leader, a person of influence, you're a bishop, you have a following, you're a pastor. It's like, do you think I would be a part of something illegal? Right? You want to ask them that question. You want to put them on the defensive, because remember, the person that asked the question controls the conversation. Oh, no, of course not, Pastor. I wouldn't do that. Okay, right. No, I understand how you may feel, but let me tell you some of what it is. Or if they ask, well, what's the product, right? Because you got that product. Well, here's the product. We market a blockchain digital wallet. We offer needed funding without repayment. We have live business education and development training. You have access to a diverse global community of like-minded members, all for only $28 a month as our product offer. And I think that's a pretty good bargain. Don't you think so? Ask the question. Don't you think so? See, everything is about leading them with the question, getting them to answer it. And once they say, well, yeah, that's not a bad deal. I didn't see it that way. So let me ask you this. Are you ready to move forward and accept this token from me, open up your own bank, and start receiving unavoidable cash flow, right? Notice it's all about questions, you guys, okay? Do I have to recruit? Is another question, right? I know exactly how you feel. I felt the same way. I didn't want to get involved in any sales or anything, or you can say, I know what you're thinking. I thought the exact same way until I delved further into this. And this is what I found, is that we're not selling. and we're not recruiting. What we're doing is we're educating people. That's what we do, right? But let me ask you this question here so that you understand the power of what we have our hands on. How many hours in a day do you have, John? How many hours in a day do we all have, John? And he's going to say, well, 24 hours. The key is confidence, and you don't move on until they answer your question. Make sense? So he said 24 hours. So yeah, so that means there's a cap on how much money that we can make, right? Or that you can make, right? He's going to say, yeah, we got to eat, we got to sleep. So it's not even a full 24 hours, right? So since there's a cap, do you think it's easy to make big money by yourself or a team, right? It's no different than you think. It's easier to raise kids as a single parent or a mother and father household. We all know a team will make it a lot easier, right? So we get that. So get in to answer that question. Well, a team. Exactly. So John, with our two-step system that only has to be completed one time, every member is able to divide their time, which is like working smart, but we're able to multiply our residual cash flow, and it has no cap. It is unlimited. And the best part is 100% mutually beneficial. Does that make sense to you, John? Right? There's that question again. If he says yes, so are you ready to move forward and accept the token to open up your own bank and begin receiving unavoidable cash flow? Okay? Another one that some people may ask, well, what if they don't identify three? You know, I know exactly how you feel. I felt the same way, and I experienced some things in the past with other deals, but this is completely different. And this is what happened for me. What dawned on me is this, John, is if it works for 100% of people, 100% of the time, it would be impossible for me not to find three people that want a residual cash flow. That's what dawned on me, because it was bulletproof. It works for 100% of people, 100% of the time, no gambling. I knew for me it would be impossible for me not to identify three people that want a residual cash flow. Let me ask you this, John, why wouldn't you be able to identify three strategic partners? Right? Now, let's say he comes up and says, well, no, I think I can get three. Great, right? So then he may say, or she may say, but what if somebody else quits or they don't identify three? You go right here. Let me ask you this, John or Susan. What would you do if you own a restaurant and your cook quit and you put a $250,000 to open up that restaurant? What would you do? Would you close down your restaurant or replace them? Question. I would replace them. Exactly. So it's the same thing here. We're a business just like any other business, but what we do have is 100% mutual benefit to what we do. Zero gambling. It's impossible for people to lose unless they quit. And we have everything in place to ensure people's belief gets to a point where they don't walk away from this. See, we can find a problem for every solution if we wanted to, right? I mean, exactly. You know, if we walked outside and walked across the street, we could say, well, what if we get hit by a car? So we can find a problem for every solution if we wanted to. So, John, there's over 7 billion people out there. You only need 3 people that see what you see or see what we see. Just 3, John. Make sense? Yeah. You ready to move forward and accept this token from me so we can build this bank together and start receiving unavoidable cash flow, right? These are some of the dynamics. And what you want to do, team, is you want to practice these. And the other thing that I want to encourage you guys to do too is once you have this, have this open, okay, when you're making your follow-up phone calls with your potential strategic partners. After you do it enough times, you're going to automatically be able to do it without even looking at this PDF. But if you're brand new, have that PDF ready. All right. Be confident in what it is that you're doing. Ask the questions. Don't move on until they answer the question. Okay. And I would suggest that you role play with your team members as well. Okay. It's like Steph Curry, the great ones, they put their 10,000 hours in, right? He shoots 10,000 shots a day, right? That's why he's able to shoot sometimes with his eyes closed, because it becomes second nature. He becomes unconsciously competent. It's going to be the exact same thing here. And so there'll be other objections, but I want to go over the main ones for you guys so that you know how to handle it and not get knocked off your square basically by somebody asking those questions and you don't know how to respond with confidence moving forward. Make sense, everybody? Okay, so here's what I want to do. Okay, we're going to shift gears and we're going to go here. And if you guys got any other questions afterwards, at the end, we'll go over that there. But it's in your back office. Download that. You got the tools. Okay. Now I want to shift gears, team, and I want to talk about something that's very, very important. And I was having a conversation with one of our leaders, and I know there's some people that's coming on board that they see this thing as clear as water. What I want each and every one of you to understand is that there's something for you to see. There is going to come a time, if you stick around long enough and don't leave the field before you see this, there's going to come a time when you see this. It may be a presentation, it may be a training. Something will happen where you will see the full magnitude of this business, and you're going to say, oh my God, I cannot believe what we have our hands on. There's some of us on here, we already have had that moment. There's some of you are still yet to see that moment. But I'm going to tell you this, if you leave the field, you never will. I am telling you that there's something for you here to see, that once you see it, you can't unsee it. It's kind of like back in the day, they used to have these pictures that were just abstract art, just squiggly lines. It didn't make any sense when you looked at it. And they told you to just stare at it until your eyes even watered sometimes, and your eyes kind of cross. And then there's this image that comes up out of the picture. Some of you have seen that before. And some people will be looking and say, I see the dinosaurs and the mountains in the background. And people are looking and say, all I see is squiggly lines. It's the exact same thing here. I'm here to tell you guys that there is something for you to see. And when you see this, you cannot unsee it. You will have an, oh my God moment. And for anyone that leaves before they have that opportunity, God bless them, because you're not going to find anything as pure and as bulletproof as this. There gets no greater than being your own bank in the way in which this behaves. So we're going to be disrupting the industry is the goal. Now, I went over this a little bit last week, but I want to revisit this because this is very, very important. We're strategically engineering wealth. What you guys see on your screen, the Rothschilds, these are the godfathers of the banking industry as we know it, right? They still live, their family still lives today. These individuals are trillionaires, you guys. Not billionaires, trillionaires. It's one of the families that has the privilege of being able to print money and loan it out at interest to governments and countries all around the world, okay? And you see here this statement here, let me issue and control a nation's money, and I care not who writes the laws. From their word, from their mouth, right? So it's money that controls governments, lobbyists, and all that kind of stuff. So the reason why I'm asking you, sharing this with you guys is because I want you guys to understand is that right now we're $35 trillion in debt, meaning the government don't even know how to balance the budget, right? They don't even understand. They're trying to manage cash flow. Now, let me put that in perspective for you guys when we say 35 trillion. Now, really, really pull in here. I've shared this before, and we talk about how words talk, but numbers scream. So you guys have heard million. You guys have heard billion. You guys have heard the word trillion. Those are words. They just talk and they rhyme. But when I tell you they are light years apart from each other, you begin to understand the magnitude of what $35 trillion is, or what $1 billion is, or what $1 million is. And to give you guys an example, if you were given $1 million, $1 million, and you had to spend $1,000 a day, do you guys understand that it would take you 3 years to spend that $1 million at $1,000 a day clip? 1 million. Now, I want you guys to understand the difference between 1 million and 1 billion. Same scenario. You had to spend $1,000 a day until you spent that $1 billion. You guys realize it would take you 2,740 years to spend that $1 billion. Not 3 years as a million, but 2,740 years. You wouldn't be around. That's the difference between a billion and a million. Huge. Now let's go to trillion. Same scenario. All right. To spend $1 trillion at $1,000 a day, it would take you over 5 million years to spend that money. So when you guys see $35 trillion in deficits, like who do we owe $35 trillion to? You guys don't even understand the magnitude. You will never be able to pay that back. And so it creates this centralized wage slave mentality, if you will. So that's why we say cash flow is more valuable than cash accumulation. So what I want you guys to realize here is the central banks have traditionally controlled and dominated the sourcing of needed capital in the form of supplying interest-bearing loans to everyone and keeping the profit. So they control the sourcing, all right, and the supplying of money, right? So the interest that they go ahead and they have the opportunity to decide what the interest is going to be. They can manipulate that, right? So when you take out a loan at interest, that means you're interested. So if it's a $20,000 loan that you want, so you said, I want this $20,000 and I'm interested in it, but I have to pay 20%. That's your interest rate, right? They control that. And when you're paying that back, that becomes their residual cash flow into perpetuity, if that makes sense. So I want you guys to look at this. This is the centralized environment here. So let's just say, for instance, A wants to send B some money, right, in the centralized environment. You guys don't know it. You're thinking that you're sending money from A to B. But what's really happening is going from here to a centralized bank or a financial institution, then going to B, right? If B wanted to send money to C, you think that B is just sending money to C, but no, it's really going through the centralized point of control right here to C. So that's what centralization is all about. What we're able to do, you guys, now, because of blockchain technology, and many of you are new to this, the beauty of it is that it's removed any need for middlemen, all right, who are at the center of all the control, and empowering us to control the sourcing and distribution of needed money for our members worldwide without the need of repayment. We're talking for $28 a month. And so what we're doing is we're going from this to this. This is a distributed network. This flattens the pyramidal structure. So when people ask, is this a pyramid? Understand they don't even know what we just covered here. Because we're not taught this in our schools and institutions. So now that you know that, your internal communication shouldn't be flustered when someone says pyramid or anything like that. We're flattening. There's no middlemen here, and we're able to move value within our ecosystem, a closed loop ecosystem. So we're in phase 1 right now, where we're building the network, okay? Doing the plumbing, as we like to say. And we have a Mobius loop infrastructure that when I tell you guys, if you understand how this behaves, there's no way in the world that you would want to leave this and do anything else that doesn't incorporate what I'm getting ready to share with you guys. Okay? So we're going to be going to phase 2 at some point in time, but right now we're in phase 1. So let me talk to you guys about what I mean by that. Here's the deal. If people really understood how our financial ecosystem works globally, if the people just stand, the game is over, right? The $35 trillion game in wage slavery is over. We just have to rise up with our awareness and educate people about what's going on financially. That's why we're talking about becoming smarter than money. You have to know the basics first, right? So I want to talk to you guys about this. Our 4 guiding principles. We talk about this in new member orientation. And for those of you that are new, please tattoo it to your soul. These 4 guiding principles will change your life if you abide by these principles. All right. Number 1, belief is more important than skill. And I'm not going to break all that down this time, but belief is more important than skill. Number 1 principle. Number 2, If your plan requires luck, it's a bad plan. That's gambling. There's no luck here in our environment. We have a system. We have predictability. We have mathematical certainty, right? Number 3 principle, words talk, but numbers scream. You got to understand how to read numbers, right? Become financially literate by understanding numbers, all right? And then number 4, this one here, cash flow is more valuable than cash accumulation. Now, when you guys look at this picture here, it looks similar, right? So most people don't understand how this works here. This is the circle right here. I'm gonna find my point. I can't see my pointer for some reason. Okay, 1 second, you guys. There it is. Okay, so this right here represents linear income. Right? This is the wage slave right here, where people just go around in circles. Linear income. Trading hours for dollars. They have no leverage. And as we talked about, it's politically driven. Right? Someone has to die or get fired. You have to brown nose your way. It's cutthroat in the corporate structure. It's linear. So you can make more money, but what do we do when we start making more money, accumulating more money? We get a bigger home. We get a fancier car, right? We go on more extravagant vacations. So we're just broke on a different level, and we're still going in circles. We're still a rat, but we're just a bigger rat in the rat race. But when you fold that piece of paper, it turns into an infinity sign. There's a Mobius loop, all right, that deals with sacred geometry. I'm not going to go deep in the rabbit hole there in terms of sacred geometry and all that, but there's a Mobius loop effect that governs everything that happens in this physical reality. This is the residual cash flow that creates infinite leverage and 100% mutual benefit. Now, you guys see how similar it is, but it was just a twisting of that paper that turned it into an infinity sign. One of the things I want everyone to understand is that when it comes to big transformation in our life, it's not going to be something big. It's always something small and granular that makes the big difference. It's the same thing here. Let me help you guys understand what I'm talking about here. I'm going to talk to you guys about this Mobius loop infrastructure that is an absolute game changer here. Because what it does is that it puts cash flow on the infinity sign, and as more and more and more and more people get on this infinity loop, it only gets bigger and bigger to facilitate everybody on this planet. There is no saturation point, if that makes sense to everyone. I'm going to break this down for you guys. Really pay attention here. So you guys see on your screen here, this is how the cash flow moves in our ecosystem. That purple ball represents the cash flow ball that you guys typically see. It moves infinitely, not in a circle, but that twist allows it to facilitate everybody. Okay? If you were to look at the dynamics of a tornado, it behaves the exact same way. It's like a torus, if you will. So this is what we have in our business, unlike other businesses. So you go ahead and complete your 3x10 cooperative in our ecosystem, right? What ends up happening in your 3x10 cooperative, you're at $175,598 every 28 days residually. And you think, well, it stops there. So that's why people think, well, that's the saturation point. Nobody else can do it. It dies right there. No. Another one, because of the Mobius loop infrastructure, will automatically, independent of your involvement, open up another 3x10. And this can happen infinitely, you guys, because it's a Mobius loop, right? Infinitely. So as everyone's going up the escalator and that one gets filled up, guess what? Another one will open, and your 3 strategic partners can follow you. Their strategic partners follow them. We're talking about an infinite success line that will facilitate all 7+ billion people on this planet. They would literally have to come up with a new economic system worldwide, which I'll prefer anyway, to get rid of the monetary system, go to a resource-based economy. But that's a whole nother conversation. So this is what I want you guys to understand. This elevator or this escalator, it goes up infinitely. There is no saturation point to what we do because we have the Mobius loop infrastructure. So this is what we mean by it's 100% mutually beneficial. This is what we mean by the fact that it works 100% of the time for 100% of the people that complete the 2 doable steps, because the numbers and the math is the math. There's mathematical certainty in it. There's an infinite climb as well to this deal, if that makes sense to everyone. Understand the power of what you got here. So cash flow is more valuable than cash accumulation. So here's exactly what we're talking about getting here, team. You're able to experience continual financial growth for the rest of your life when you become a member with us. I mean, it is literally as simple as getting on an escalator and just simply empowering 3 people to experience the exact same benefit. The exact same benefit. Has nothing to do with acronyms next to your name, seniority, none of that here. Every person on this planet that can fog up a mirror can have the exact same benefit if they come to the exact same mindset that we have the exact same frequency and vibration in terms of what it is that we're trying to do. Everyone has the exact same benefit, right? No, nothing can separate us from that. Here's what's so powerful. And this is what we're so passionate about as a global community, because we're talking about everyday life, right? Things happen in life. So our bank, the way in which we're focused on as a global community, it acts like an empowerment fund. I love that word empowerment, right? Because it removes victim mentality. We become empowered when you understand that we now control the sourcing and distribution of money. That's empowering. We don't have to wait on anyone to tell us to give us a raise. It's not politically driven. We now have the power. And it provides members ongoing deposits for life events like college, medical costs, like buying a home, starting a business, retirement, vacations, and so much more. And here's what's so powerful about it. What's more is if something happens where the economy changes, which will happen, the market goes down, inflation rates go through the roof, we're completely protected from any downside within our private Mobius loop ecosystem, you guys. I shared with some of you last week, I think it was last week, we talked about when COVID came about, and we're doing a different iteration, but we're in our closed loop ecosystem, and it was Mobius in nature, but it wasn't residual in nature. That when the world stopped and everyone was on lockdown, but people still had to eat, and they're wondering how they're going to generate money, all right, in order to eat, put gas, in their car, all these things. Our organization blew through the roof because we're a closed loop ecosystem. People were making $50,000, $100,000 a month. It's ridiculous. People that never made money in their life before. Make sense? Because it was closed loop. So this is the best financial system that we've ever come across in our life. And best of all, it's only $28 a month. That's what's so powerful about it. So when a person has a job, that simply means their money is unemployed. And that's true. They're linear, right? They're exchanging the most precious asset, time, for money. We're teaching people how to employ $125 one time, teach duplication. And this is what can happen to them on the other side of money. They just rise up this escalator infinitely. So when we talk about this empowerment funding model that we have, I want to talk to you guys about the difference between the exchange of labor, which most people have been taught to do, working a job, right, versus investing, or the investment of labor. We're an investment of labor, right? So we're not talking about working a job. We know that's linear. Investing is risky because you don't control what's really going on behind the scenes in that scheme, whether it's mutual funds, index funds, hedge funds. You don't control that. We control the investment of labor here. So just to help you guys understand, in a job, 8 hours may translate, let's say, $200 a day at a job, which in a 5-day work week, that's $1,000, right? But it's going to be a continuous exchange of time for money. It's linear. If you stop working, you're not going to have that $1,000 come in the next week. You have to go back the next week. And that's what makes you a slave, because you haven't found out how to employ your money yet. Many people are trying to put it in risky investments, percent daily programs and everything like that, that you don't even know what's really going on behind the scenes with that, but you're gambling. Here, everything is very transparent and open. We know the numbers, the mathematical certainty. So what we're doing, you guys, collectively as a global community, We're just ushering in a new model. This is what everyone's going to be doing. It's a one-time investment of labor. The labor is identifying 3 strategic partners. The investment is the 125 for those 3 tokens that you're going to pay it for to those 3 partners. That's the investment of labor right there, right? So it's not a continuous exchange of labor on ongoing investment into traditional financial schemes, because that's all those are schemes. I'm not saying that they're scams. I'm not going to go there. This is not about a revolution in terms of picketing and all that. This is just about, okay, we know the game that you guys are playing over here in the traditional financial arena. It's rigged. Now we have something that we control the outcome, the velocity of money, and the impact that we can have. We're unstoppable. We're empowered, right? So we're ushering that in because the artificial intelligence team that's baked into the co-op wallet, it goes to work for us independent of us exchanging any more time or money upon completing the 2 steps one time, which is our investment of labor. Come on now. Really? My internal communication is so strong because I know what I know what I know. I laugh at when people say pyramid. That cracks me up, right? So when you look at what we have our hands on, you guys know the drill here. This is exactly how it works. We activate 3 accounts one time. We get $29 directly deposited. Our strategic partners do the exact same thing. One-time investment of labor. They receive $29. You go to $47 unavoidably. You did nothing else. But your residual cash flow went up, and that's more valuable than cash accumulation. These strategic partners do the exact same one-time investment of labor, right? They're going to get $29 each, but your 3 strategic partners went to 47, you went to 96, independent of your involvement, because the AI is going to work for you and it's escalating you up infinitely because of the Mobius loop technology. No one has to lose in this environment. No gambling, right? And what I love about this investment of labor, we are investing in the human resource, which there's nothing more valuable than the human resource. So when you are giving that token forward to 3 people, you are investing in their imminent future. Understand, you're giving people a golden token that will unlock the freedom that they desire because of this right here. And as you guys know the drill, the money just goes up naturally as everyone does the one-time execution of investment of labor. And now that you guys have a better understanding, if you didn't, of the Mobius loop infrastructure, it facilitates everybody on this planet. At $547 a month, that's an extra $7,000 that you've given yourself a pay raise. That's not politically driven. You control that, right? At $1,800 a month, because we get paid 13 times a year, you've given yourself a $23,000 annual pay raise. That's not politically driven because we're empowered. We did that. At $4,192 that you get paid 13 times a year, that's not politically driven. Are you guys hearing me? Because we're empowered now. We did that. That's $54,000 a year. You gave yourself a pay raise without asking anyone for permission. All the way up to $2.2 million. Because $175,000, all right, times 13 is $2.28 million. We're literally showing a person or people how to simply get in line, accept a token, and we're talking about taking that $125 and we can literally show someone how to get a over 5,000% rate of return on a $125 investment. Did you guys hear what I just said? You're going to show someone how to take $125 and get a over 5,000% rate of return in 10 weeks in this example here. Hell, it can be 10 days. It could be 10 hours. We're empowered now, and we get to control our destiny with this one here. So I wanted to share that with you guys to help you guys understand how to handle objections. You know, bypass those people that, you know, have an opinion that they just want to defend their right to stay broke. You're looking for people whose opinion matches our opinion, if that makes sense to everyone, okay? And so all we're doing is giving three people the golden token, telling them to turn around and do the exact same thing. And they don't leave the field. They don't quit on this business until they stare at this thing long enough to have that, oh my God moment. So we're intentionally engineering wealth, you guys. There's nothing on the planet you're going to find better than this. This is, to me, now this is my opinion, all right? This is better than any insurance program. This is better than any financial program that a financial planner can give you. This is better than any traditional brick and mortar, multi-level marketing, affiliate marketing. When you have something that appeals to the masses, because everyone's in need of residual cash flow. Think about the product that we're offering people. This is for everybody. Then you can dine with the classes here. So I wanted to share that with you guys today. And so that's going to wrap up what I had to share with you guys today. Hopefully you guys are able to gain a little bit more insight in terms of the power of that Mobius loop. Hopefully you're able to gain some more, more insight in terms of how to handle objections. Team, don't let people knock you off your square. They just don't know what they don't know. And now that you do. So don't ball up and, put your tail between your legs because someone says pyramid. They just don't know what they don't know. And if they're open to listening and having an honest conversation where you ask the questions, then they're going to come and see it your way. It makes sense, everyone? So does anybody else, anybody want to add anything? Okay, we got Miss Carol Riley raised her hand there. Okay.
This was fantastic. I have finally understood the Mobius loop.
Okay.
My question to you is this. When you were doing the objections, how can you say in all honesty, I know I felt that way too if you didn't?
Well, I mean, what you want to do is, if you didn't, say, well, I understand how you feel. There's other people that felt that same way as well.
Thank you.
Does that make sense? Yeah.
That helps.
So the whole key is just connecting. You want people to feel like they've been heard, at least. And then you take them where they want to go.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Carol. Chief Terrence, I love that. How you doing, Great Wolf?
Peace and blessings. How are you?
Awesome, brother.
My question is, I'm a private banker. Mm-hmm. And inside of our tribe, because we're not a federally recognized tribe, but we're an international tribe. Mm-hmm. And we specialize in private banking and things of that nature. And our private banking is decentralized as well. And my question is that, okay, this is blockchain technology. Now, is that blockchain connected to a decentralized bank as well?
No, we're just on the Ethereum blockchain. And
okay.
So every wallet's on the Ethereum blockchain. And so we're not connected to any other type of banking institution. Like, we're all for it at the exact same time, basically, on how we're doing it. And we say we're a bank, but in reality, we're not a bank. We just behave like one, basically, if you understand how money flows. So we're all for it at the same time. So most people are borrowers and depositors. We're bankers and bank owners, too, because of how this operates and functions.
Okay, beautiful. We would love to become a part of this network. My brother Shahid and Tobiah had brought me in on this opportunity.
Absolutely.
And I took it back to my tribe. And when I said they came up with a way to save, because I'm from Michigan, a way to save Michigan. I don't know if you guys been reading the news, but Kentucky and a couple of other states have their own currency that they deal with in their state. We want to do the same thing for Michigan, and we want to partner up with you guys to make that happen.
Absolutely. All right, let's talk. Off camera for sure. Brother Shahid and Tobiah, I mean, superstars in the making, man. I look forward to speaking with you. Let's go and take it to the moon.
All right, I will. Peace.
All right. Absolutely. Pamela.
Hi, Greg. Awesome as usual. I have a quick question about the objections. You mentioned, I'm trying to do this from memory, about would a person have the ability to get, like promoted or whatever? What if you're talking to a business owner, like a small business owner? What do you say to them? Because they really can't duplicate themselves. They do have people reporting to them. I'm talking about like someone who owns like a dance studio. They have teachers underneath them. What do you say instead of saying, do you have the ability to get promoted or get ahead?
Well,
How do you deal with someone who's, the business really owns them, kind of thing? So how do you get your point across that?
Okay.
Because
Well,
they're going to.
you kind of answered the question with your last statement. Now you go back to the business really owns them, right? See, when you're diagnosing that, now you're asking, you're capped. So you talk to a business owner that's really self-employed. They're not really a business owner because a business typically has to have at least, I think the number is 500 or something like that to be considered a business. Outside of that, you're self-employed. So now you have the conversation. There's only 24 hours in a day. John, who owns the dance studio.
Yeah,
There's a cap on how much you can make. In our environment, it's unlimited. There's no cap. I suggest you take a serious look at this, right? The other thing is accounts payable, accounts receivable. See, when people really understand the cadaver of traditional businesses, it looks glorified on the outside, but you guys don't have any idea of accounts payable, receivable. We don't have to worry about that over here, right? We don't have employees walking around. So these are the kind of things that you have to, take into consideration. But someone that's like that, they're just capped. Okay.
Okay. I also just wanted to reiterate, I was in federal law enforcement. I dealt with pyramid schemes. My job was finding and seizing assets. Let me tell you, you could put someone in jail. They don't really care. But when you start seizing their car, their bank accounts or whatever, every time they go out in the driveway, they don't see their car. Believe me, you get phone calls. So, we're attached to our assets. I just wanted to say that doing the research on this company, and I've been in it almost as long as you have, Greg, me and my sister, if there was anything illegal going on with this company, I would have found it. Believe me, that was my job. This is completely legal and just a hybrid of crowdfunding, credit unions, banks. It's just amazing what is put together. And like you say, if you stay in it long enough, you will realize that this is truly revolutionary.
Absolutely.
Truly.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Greg. You always bring it, man.
Thank you.
You're awesome.
I appreciate
You're
that.
unstoppable.
Amen, Pamela. Amen, Pamela. Amen, Pamela.
Yes, Pamela. Yes.
Right. Let's go ahead and go on with Selena Billings, my sister from another mister.
Hi, Greg. I just wanted to say that your timing with the with all of the different ways that we can handle objections was just perfect. So once again, I mean, I know you've done this before, but once again, the timing for me was perfect. So thank you. Thank you.
Always. You're more than welcome. Okay. Transportation Toastmasters, how are you?
I'm great. How about you?
Really good. Thanks for asking.
Thanks. I've enjoyed your presentation. You're very, very good at explaining stuff. But my question is, how do you compare this program to investing in real estate?
There is no comparison, really. But I will say this, if you want to use that frame, if you will, I like to let people know, look at because I do real estate as well, look at every digital asset as rental property. And every time they pay that $28 a month for that digital asset, you're receiving rental income infinitely from every digital asset after you, right? And so in our environment, this is the other thing, speed. Because of the cost of the barrier of entry is so low, we're talking about $125. You don't have to go through a credit check and all that kind of stuff. This can move way faster than getting out a loan, $20,000, getting a tenant in there, hopefully where the rules are for the tenants and all that. So if you understand it from that perspective, you can have that kind of reference point back and forth. But look at every digital wallet like digital real estate.
Okay.
Can that help?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Where are you from?
Michigan.
Michigan in the house. Okay. I love it. Welcome. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Queen Ursi.
As the Honorable, thank you for that session this morning. But I have a few troublesome questions in my mind.
Okay.
One, how soon after the call do you lock the room?
How soon? Terry's on here. He can answer that question. It may be like 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
5 minutes? Yeah, 5 minutes. Mm-hmm.
Because I was locked out on Wednesday, and I have a member in UK who is being locked out. I don't know what time they get locked out.
Mm-hmm.
And it is really a pain for me because that call today, they should have heard that about the objections. Because I can get the most objections.
Right. Yeah. We're going to put it in the back office, Queen, for you as well. So anyone that missed it, we're going to put it in the back office. But let me also make this point too, and I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you for bringing this up. Is that because we have our hands on something that is so freaking powerful and we are different from anything else out there, we're taking our professionalism in terms of how we conduct business to a whole nother level. I have a corporate background. And if, being early, being on time is being 5 minutes early. And if I came late, you get fired, right? And so what we're doing is we're taking this to another level, that if people are serious about taking their life to a whole nother level, show up on time, show up early, and participate, so that there's not this, oh, it's just one of those deals, I can come when I want to and all that kind of stuff. So that's really the purpose of it. And we're going to dive more into it in some other sessions, but I just want you to have that understanding as well.
Well, that's good to know. But guess what? I came in 5 minutes early. I was locked out. Host need to get me in. By the time I got in, 100 and some people is on the call. So how come I was locked out?
I don't know. Well, I'll tell you this. It wasn't intentional. Okay. That's one thing for sure. And was your camera on? If your camera's on, I don't know why you would have been locked out or anything like that. So,
Brother Greg, I'm sorry, may I interject? Queen Ursi?
Sorry, Brother Eric. When I got in first,
Sister Ursi, can you hear me?
Hold on 1 second. When I got in first, my camera was not on until you said we need to get our cameras on. Then I went and I put it on.
Okay.
So is that a rule that your camera must be on when you logging in?
Yeah. Well, when you come in, you're going to see it was even written there as the timer was going down that we want cameras on, otherwise you'll be removed. So it was even written there at the bottom of the ticker going down.
Okay.
So, once again, we're not here to offend anybody. We're just running a tight ship here, and I want to see you wealthy, Queen. So.
Oh yes, I want to be.
Absolutely, I love it. All right.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Let me just say this, Brother Greg, please.
Yeah.
So, the reason why you were locked out because the platform wasn't open yet.
Right.
If you read it, you'll see host says joined and let you know that you're in, and when it opens up, it opens up. So you were before the time that it was to open, and when it opened up with a countdown.
Yes.
From Brother Greg. So just be clear on that. It's not when you sign in; it's when the platform is ready to receive us.
Okay, sir. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Queen.
All right, we'll do better. We need the money to start coming, man.
All right. Thank you, Queen.
Thank you.
Miriam. My pleasure. Miriam.
Hey, this is Miriam in Chicago. Are you talking to me? There's a lot of Mariannes here.
Miriam. Omar.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to say thank you, Greg, for being so consistent. I always thought you were the perfect presenter, and you are a perfect person. And I wanted to have two observations. Is that we become like the medicine people for the wounded in MLM. But they're all wounded, and they come with their wounds all hanging out to give us throw stones and rocks at us and wanting to wound us. But we have the oil to cure their wounds. So that's one thing I want to say. And the next thing I want to say is that I worked for the airline part-time when I was working for lawyers, when I was in the career thing. And one of the principles that they had was that, they have a commitment to fly the plane at a certain time. And if we were late, a question asked, you didn't have to go to HR, you just go through the door. It's over for you. And there was a pilot, there was a friend of mine, and he always said, it's not your desire, but your discipline that gets you what you want. Absolutely. So once you understand what you're putting down, Greg, we have to match our discipline to it. Thank you so much.
I appreciate that. Well said.
Amen.
Absolutely. Appreciate that. D.
Awesome.
Ford, my
Well
brother,
said.
another mother.
That was well said.
Awesome.
Fantastic. G-Money, can you hear me?
Absolutely.
Hey, man. Well, first of all, I want to say, always, as always, you knock it out the park with the locker room and everything. You know, you were talking about having your aha moment, that moment when it's just the light bulb comes on. And, you know, as I shared with you on one particular locker room, was that, first of all, you know, plug into the locker room, plug into the system, and you'll give yourself that opportunity to have that aha moment. But when, you know, when I heard it clear as day, and I've heard it many times, but when I heard that one moment where this was a choice and not a chance, that's when it just became just so clear. It's like I can literally see wealth for everyone based on the fact that our success is based on choice now. It's not based on me recruiting. It's not based on me being a guru. It's just based on saying yes, accept the token. Your folks do the exact same. So we're literally creating our own success by that being that success is a choice and not by chance. So that's when I had my aha moment. So what Mr. Baldwin said, guys, was just so crystal clear. I have a question, though, if I could ask. For a person to take this business from, I hope this happens, to, oh, by all means, I'm going to make this happen, what would a person need to do for that situation to take place?
Plug in, number one. As we like to say, in order to stay turned on, you have to stay plugged in. So plug into the culture. The other thing is, I would suggest that everyone develops a personal growth and self-development plan. Everybody should have a personal growth and self-development plan. Like, I often talk to people and I ask them, like, hey, what you reading? What kind of books you cracking open? Right? I see a big screen TV in their house, but they ain't reading no books. You know, they listen to music. They can tell you about, you know, the hot show maybe on Netflix or a reality TV show. If you want to get wealthy, you're going to have to become a completely different person and divorce yourself from the habits that put you where you're at if you say you want to go to a different level. So have a personal growth and self-development plan that includes your mental, your spiritual, your emotional, and ultimately your financial, right? So how you do one thing is how you do everything, you know? Some of us want to make a whole lot of money, but our health is not where it needs to be. I guarantee you start developing a discipline for a better health. It's going to translate into a better mentality. It translates and spills over into every other aspect of your life. So it's a matter of just participating in your own recovery and rescue. And if you do that consistently, develop the discipline, it'll happen for you.
Hey, I appreciate that. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, that's so true. You know, I'll add this, you know, one of the things that I did for myself to make sure that I was 10 feet tall and bulletproof, I really got engaged with the information and I divorced myself from the opinions of others. And I said to myself, if this business just totally relied on me to take it to the moon, that I was going to be willing to do that. Now, I know it's not going to be that way, but I said to myself and had the mentality, if it's going to get done, if it has to be done through me, let me go ahead and do it so people can borrow my belief, borrow my conviction. And now, you know, others are now adopting that same belief, that same conviction. And, you know, that's just how it happened. So, but all that's been done with your leadership and everyone on this team, through Bridget, through Belinda, through Beverly, through, you know, so many people, I won't start naming names, Selena, you know, you guys don't understand just how grateful I am for my personal success with this business, because it wasn't not for you guys and your belief and your conviction staying in there when everybody was looking at you cockeyed and cuckoo and, you know, with all kind of different mindsets. So I appreciate you, because it does take soldiers and strong people to blaze that trail for others to come and follow. So thank you guys so much.
Amen.
I give back over to you, my friend.
Yeah, thank you for all that you do. And I'm going to tell you guys this, you know, D4 and I, we talk on a regular basis, and he does practice what it is that he's preaching. He hangs on to every word that he may hear somebody else say, because I hear him say some things, I'm like, man, or he'll be on the site, and if something is changed on the site, he knows. See, some of you don't even understand going to the site and getting into that back office, reading the words and everything like that, getting it in your soul, because all it is just a transference of beliefs. So take it very, very seriously. Okay. Let's go on to Charlene. How you doing, Miss Wise? Good to see you. Try it again. There you go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Hi. Greg, love the locker room today. Love the objection going over that. That really helped. One thing you had said, in one of the objections, you have to meet them where they are. You have to connect with them to be able to overcome their objections. And I totally respect us as business. Once we get into this business, we have to show up. We should be showing up on time, if not earlier. I get that. But when you're talking about prospects that are out in the world, to me, it reminds me of the mindset of somebody who is going to church for the first time. Is different. Their mindset is different than those who are in the congregation. Mm-hmm. And so locker room, yeah, I mean, we should all show up on time. But when you bring a prospect in that may be 10 minutes late and they're locked out, I would put forth for your consideration. We should have a different outlook toward them because they are not where we're at right now. Okay. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. And I know how you feel. And I felt the same way, but this is
Go ahead and connect with me, Greg.
Let me connect with you. Here's the thing. If they were going to get to a job interview, you think that you would have that same mentality if you were an employer looking to hire somebody in? Would you have that same mentality if they showed up late to an interview?
You're right. You're right.
Okay. And so what we have our hands on, you guys need to understand, a lot of times people think they're doing us a favor to come look at some information. It's only because of our disposition or our lack of conviction and belief. That's why belief is more important than skill. When your belief gets to this point where it's up there and you value your time, you're going to force everyone to respect your time as well and allow that to kind of sort for you. Because if they're willing to show up late for a meeting, they're going to show up late for a strategic partnership meeting. They'll show up late for every other thing. How a person does one thing is how they do everything. So I would just change your mindset and understand you are hiring 3 strategic partners to build your multi-billion-dollar business, and they need to respect your time.
Fair enough. Okay, thank you. Fair enough.
Pleasure. Thank you so much for that question. All right. And I'm glad she brought that forward because there are people that have certain things and how they see things, and this is all about clarity. That's all. Thank you, Charlene. D. Clark, how are you?
Hello, Greg. I just wanted to say a couple of things. I love Locker Room today. And I tell you, I have so much respect for this business and this opportunity. When I could not turn my camera on and I was ejected out of the meeting on Monday, I said, oh my God, I got to figure out how to do this because I can't be locked out of this information. And so as it happened, I had technical know-how class on Tuesday with my daughter-in-law. She said, Mom, all you have to do is da-da-da-da-da. And she went through and she turned that camera on. And I have been on and popping ever since. And that's all I got to say. Thank you.
You keep on. You keep being on and popping. It's good to see you. Absolutely. And then the other thing, too, and we're going to cover this in you guys, that when the camera's on, understand that if you're bringing people to a strategic partnership meeting, right, you guys got to understand that prospects are looking at all the members. And if they come into a meeting and it's just a whole bunch of just names and pictures or nothing whatsoever, it's like a desert. So you guys have a job, too. It's just not the presenter to go to work. Go get them, Doug. Go get them, Greg. Go get them, Bridget. Go get them, Eric, or whoever the case may be. That's not what it's about. You guys need to be up, taking notes, nodding your head, be engaged in the environment because you're helping, that prospect say, I want to be a part of this community. Even if you don't have a prospect on there, you want everyone to behave that way. So when you do have a prospect on, everyone's, behaving the exact same way. We want to create the culture and the climate for success. All right. Fantastic. Let's go with Miriam.
Decentralized. Okay.
First of all, I appreciate this because this is where I have the most trouble with the objections. So I appreciate that. But I wanted to ask, are we having this on Monday night or not?
Yes.
Since it's a holiday.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Someone had asked me that as well. See, when you have a life where you live 7 days, a Saturday, I don't look at the holidays the same way as everyone else does. And the fact that it's Labor Day, yeah, we want people that got jobs to be on this call on Monday. Absolutely. Yeah, so we're going to have it on Monday. But great question, Miriam.
Okay.
All right. Emmanuel Apostolic, I can't even see that. Emmanuel Church. Let me just say that.
Yeah, it's
Apostolic.
Yes, Greg. It's the Emmanuel Apostolic Church. And as I said last week, and I need to fix this, I am not able to even change the name. And my camera, I'm unable to turn it on, but I have to fix this. So this is Everton Thomas, the Bishop from Jamaica.
Oh, Everton, all right.
First of all, let me thank you. Yes, let me thank you for a wonderful presentation today that even clarified more what I asked last week. Really, really, really appreciate that. And so I just wanted to thank you for that. I have a suggestion, though. I was wondering if the participant, the team member who said she was working with the feds and used to shut down pyramids, my suggestion is it would be great if she could do, a brief half page or a couple of sentences as to what it was that they look for and why this would never fall into that category. Because believe you me, in Jamaica and even around the world, I have some friends in New York and all that, and they are so scared. And they're not always available to, for example, the locker room today, because the locker room is for members only. And I try to explain, but maybe I'm not doing a good enough job. I'm just thinking it may be a good idea if something like that, even if she doesn't want to sign it, but just to say what it is they looked for and why this does not fall into that category and make that available in the back office, I think that would help. But I have planted my flag here. I'm going all the way. I'm on vacation in Disney with my 7-year-old grandson. And I might have to sleep in the doghouse because I'm on this call while we're trying to use family time. But it's okay if I sleep in the doghouse tonight. This is going to help me to sleep in a dream house sooner or later. So
I love it. Absolutely.
I'm fine with that. But thank you for this, and God bless you. Thank you for the presentation.
Thank you for the question from last week, and that's why I felt that I didn't really give it proper justice, and I know that's something that people are dealing with, so I wanted to revisit it this week as well. And relative to what you asked, I'll inquire. We'll see if that's plausible. But also understand, you guys, that people have to be willing and have to be open too. Sometimes we convince people that don't want to be convinced, unfortunately. And so you look for people whose opinion match your opinion, but I'll inquire and see if she wants to put something together. Okay?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Uh-huh.
This is Pam. I will work on something like that because, again, I was actually #1 in the country. And believe me, I did not want to leave a dime for perpetrators to even call their lawyer. So I do my due diligence, my background. So I will try to put something together for that so that you can offset it. I try and bring that up often because I know that's really the #1 objection. People just they just blurt it out. It's they've been brainwashed, just like school, to say it's a pyramid, it's a pyramid. And it's the powers that be. They don't want us to get ahead, and they don't want us to leave the system because it benefits them.
Yeah. True. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's one of those things. And to be honest with you guys, where I'm at, I don't even want to talk about it no more in terms of pyramid. Let's move on, because we've handled the objection and everything. We know it's not. And once again, if you keep bringing that up, all you're doing is recreate that narrative over and over again. That's under the water. So let's keep it moving. We know we got our hands on, but if you get together, Pamela, let me know. Okay. Let's move on. Hey, Stephen, how you doing, man? Yep.
Yes.
Hold on one second. Let's mute some people out there. All right, go ahead. What happened? He got muted. My bad. I think Terry moving real quick. Stephen, you're not. We can't hear you, Stephen. I see your lips moving.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So Greg, that is the most awesome presentation I've ever seen about trying to get people to become unconsciously competent.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Stephen. Appreciate you.
Narrative about the Rothschilds and everything that everybody thinks is false narrative. It's nice to see that a lot of people out here that know the truth and want to break people out of slavery, break them out of the matrix, and give them back power. More power to you. I love what you do.
I appreciate that, Stephen. Where are you from, Stephen?
I'm from Wisconsin. I'm in a little. We've like been ripping this town up. Like we got about 1,200 people, and I got some really good strategic partners, and we just grab people and say, "Hey, you want in?
Yeah,
you're gonna want in. But if you want in, give us some money. We'll get you in. We'll get you started and get you plugged in."
I love it. All right, fantastic. Badger country. I love it. Corinthia, how you doing? Good to see you, man.
Hey, it's good to be seen, not observed. I agree with everything that everyone else said about what you've done this morning. It put the breath of life, once again back, into Smarter Than Money. I want people to totally hear your point on being able to understand what it is to, I guess we could say, re-self-educate our mind. Otherwise, the Father wouldn't have said, renew your mind. He wouldn't have said it if he didn't realize that these little 8 inches can stop us from being unstoppable. And many people, I believe, 99% of the people will never get to that space. But ask yourself, are you going to be in the 99 where the pathway to destruction is great, or are you going to take the narrow way and go through the suffocation called suffering to become who you're supposed to be? That path, only a few footprints are on it. And I wonder whether your shoe size is going to be on that path. And I'm reading some stuff by Miles Monroe. He said a bird, when they're flying, they get empowered and they get energy and they become themselves. When a bird stops flying, it's when they're dying. And we are so much greater than a bird. God says sparrows may fall and he sees them. But he made us to be his image likeness. But he also did another thing. He said, I want you to share my power, dominion, so that you can understand and feel how the Father feels when he succeeds and overcomes. Brokenness in this world don't want you to feel what the Father feels. You are more than average and ordinary. You're an extraordinary. And for me, I was just thinking about how you're empowering us. And here on this on this platform, I am so glad to hear the etiquette charge. Seriously, if you don't have your camera on, it's like talking to a paper bag. You don't want to be a paper bag. You want to be a human, because we're teaching I guess we could say etiquette. Etiquette is empowering. It's also teaching each one of us how to become a better leader by serving out. How do we serve out? We are serving by showing our face, serving out by getting on early. We're serving out by staying the length, breadth, and depth of the time so we can get everything. We're serving out by being what? In space, to reserve the space and time for this to come forth so that we can become better people. And guess what your people are doing? They're watching you. If your camera is not on, your people watching you.
Mm. Right.
And that's at the bottom line. You're the one who sets the standard for your team. And you have to ask yourself, would I hire myself if I'm doing what I'm doing myself?
Mm.
So that's
I love it. I love it. You guys.
Awesome.
You can just hear a pin drop when
Amen.
he speaks, because he comes with a lot of wisdom, and you guys can feel it on him. It's substantive. And so he's a great, great member with our community. And thanks again for the connection that you put me on as well. We'll be talking later about that at some point in time. Okay. Lady Z, how you doing? Lady Z in the place to be.
Good morning, Greg. This is my first locker room. I ought to be smacked in the head for not attending before. I appreciate your clarification on many levels. And I was about to throw in the towel because I was listening to people who I thought had more knowledge about the blockchain than myself. And then when they started talking about NFTs and the difference between Bitcoin and crypto, and I'm like, I kept saying it's not like that, it's not like that. But I'm going to try a different approach. I like the fact that you taught us today how to deal with objections. And so I'm going to take the towel that I started to throw in out, because Jim Rohn said to the farmer, don't bring me your problems, bring me your seeds. And so I'm going to go out here and plant some seeds and know that I'll reap a harvest. Thanks a lot for that training, Greg. I really appreciate it.
Appreciate you for being vulnerable and honest, right? And as long as you stay in, you see, getting ready to throw in the towel. And my thing is this, and Charles, I'm saying to my head and not my heart, all right, anyone that throws in the towel, then where are you going to go? Where are you going? Where are you going? You're going to go right back into the wilderness and wander around just again when there's a clear path right here that is 100% mutually beneficial, and it works for 100% of the people 100% of the time. Where else are you going to find 100% of everything? Right? So it's a matter of just overcoming ourselves, plugging in, and staying the course, and you will reap the harvest. Thank you for being vulnerable, Lady Z. I appreciate that. Let's go with Queen Bee herself.
Yo, babe, thank you so much. Thank you for Greg, first of all. And I'm not going to, I loved everything that everybody has said already and stand in full agreement with it. So I'm not going to belabor that. But I do want to say, I want to thank you for having a platform where people can express themselves, so freely. And, I just appreciate that so much. Thank you for putting that PDF about the objections on the website, in print, where people can access it and look at it and practice and all that. It's just interesting because Selena just sent me a text because she and I had a really extensive conversation yesterday, and this was just perfect timing regarding that. So just want to appreciate that. And the only thing that I really came on to say is I wanted to suggest that Bishop Thomas in Jamaica, to change on Zoom, he should be able to rename his site by just simply, when he logs in, there's 3 dots at the top. Click on them. It's a drop down. And at the bottom, it will say rename. And you can rename your window in real time. You can do that every time. You should be able to do that if it's a typical Zoom account. Okay, so just click on the 3 dots, click on the rename, and just change the name right then. Okay, so hopefully you could try that and it will be helpful. Okay. Love Pastor Stack too. Love what he said, that when you don't have your camera on, it's like talking to a paper bag. So just, appreciate Pastor as well. All right. Thanks, Greg. Love and appreciate you, babe, and all that you do.
Love you too. We're going to go with 3 more. We're going to end with Barbara Phillips at the end, but let's go ahead with Terrence Malone. You guys need to understand, for those of you that have been around, he makes all this happen, behind the scenes. I mean, don't take what he does lightly in terms of keeping the trolls away, keeping everything running effectively and things of that nature. So he's like a brother from another mother. T Mac, what you got?
Hey, first of all, I want to say you could have stopped when you showed the Mobius loop with the ball spinning around. You could have stopped right there and just turned this thing off. You never cease to amaze us, man, and I love you for it. But just real quick, not to beat a dead horse about being on time, I just want to give you guys an example of if you allow people to constantly be late, they're controlling your life and they're wasting your time. As a professional photographer, part of my creative juices is getting started on time and not rushing. I had a customer, first time she showed up, she was like 15 minutes late. And I told her, I said, we got to start on time. And, she came up with all these excuses, but she knew what time we were supposed to meet, weeks ago. So I let it go. The second time, she was like 35 minutes late with the same excuses. So I told her, I said, next time, I'm not going to be here. And because I allowed her to be late the first 2 times, she didn't believe me. So she was 10 minutes late and I left. She got there. She said, I'm here. Where you at? I said, I told you, if you're not on time, I even waited 10 minutes. I said, I have things to do. I have a family. I have grandkids that's expecting me to be somewhere at a certain time. So from then on, she goes, well, if you come back, I give you another $100. I said, no. I said, my time is important to me. And so from then on, she's never been late. So if you just constantly allow people to dictate the direction of your life or your time, they're going to keep doing it. And that's why I like that door, because when people come in late, they're not just wasting everyone else's time. It disrupts everything because they want you to go over stuff that they missed because they didn't take the time to get there on time. So don't allow people to waste your time in whatever it is that you're doing. If you say a certain time, that's what time it's got to be. And that's it. And like I said, I don't want to beat a dead horse.
All right. Awesome. Thank you so much for that. Well said. Reverend Thomas, how you doing?
Doing well, Greg. Not so much a question. I don't want to repeat the well-deserved commendation for you and the screen. But there was a brother in here, he's into banking, and he mentioned the currency that 2 states have, and it just caught my attention. I just wondered, is there any way that we can develop how would I connect with him? Mm-hmm. We got such outstanding people in this community, and I'm just wondering if there's some way we can develop some type of
right. Absolutely. System. I mean, that's something that will, there's, like you said, we're built for scale, right? There's so many different things and directions that we're going to be able to go. And trust me, everything is on the table in terms of getting there. My thing right now is we got to build the network. You can have a currency, but if we don't have the network for that currency to move on, it doesn't matter. That's why I say blockchain is more valuable than any cryptocurrency, because the blockchain is the innovation. So we'll be able to connect with him, and definitely we'll let you know what's going on there. But yeah, we're going to make everything that needs to happen for us to go to that next level and do something that's never been done before. We're going to do it. Thank you, Reverend.
Thank you.
All right. Hey, Barbara, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm muted. I'm great. Thank you. So I'm very new. This is my first time here on Saturday, and I just loved it. I so appreciate, and I needed everything that you said. I was really having some very serious doubts. and had some really powerful pushbacks, and yeah, so I thank you. And unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to get to, for at least probably the next month, 2 months, September and October. I may not be able to make these. I'll be able to get on in a little bit later at 10 for like 30 minutes, and I will do that. But and I'm wondering if I have people that don't know anything about it, may I send them to the Monday night?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's what the Monday night is for. You know, it's for them to be exposed to the information and things of that nature. Obviously, best case scenario would be good for them to see you, just in case they're looking to see if you're there as well. It's almost like, you know, sending someone to a party, say, hey, you want to go to this party? And you don't show up at the party and they're at the party. But you definitely want to expose people to this for sure. Where are you from, Barbara, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm in Colorado.
Colorado? Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And Linda's in Washington. I knew her probably 20 years ago when we've been involved in a lot of different things together. So
yeah,
I'm delighted that she contacted me. Excited. This is really, and I love that you went over the Mobius loop, because that tube torus is so powerful. It's how our energy moves, and I love that this moves the same way. And it's just like, wow, that was great. Thank you. That helped me a lot too.
Hey, thank you so much for that. A lot of people don't know about that torus. I'm glad that you do. It's very, very powerful. All right.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Listen, I said she would be the last one. Yep. So that's what we're going to do, you guys. We're going to honor that word. Barbara's the last one. Listen, you guys, we were a little bit longer than we wanted to be, but I think it was well needed. You guys ready to rock and roll? You guys ready to take it to a whole nother level?
Yeah, ready.
The internal communication is where it needs to be. You know how to handle objections. All you're looking for are 3 people who see what you see. We're not in the convincing business. You're looking for identify those people, teach duplication, and with that Mobius loop, we can all go straight over the top. So as we end all of our presentations and trainings, we want to see you at the top. We look forward to seeing each and every one of you over the top. Take care, everybody. God bless.
All right. Thanks, Greg. Thank you so much.
Custom, everyone.
Record.